John's racing tonight, is he? So he is. Oh shit, my PC's at the fucking wrong time. Right, boys, I'll catch you later.
Catch you laters.
Bye. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simple Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action once again live here at Simple Motorsport with the GT4s on track this evening. We are stateside. We are in Indianapolis for the third round of the season, and we have got the GT4s on track at this moment. Don't worry, guys, this is not a night race. This is an early morning race. Obviously, these guys will be starting in the dark and working their way into the day. But nonetheless, hello, everyone, and good evening. Nice to see you all in the chat. Let's hear from you guys. Let's hear you supporting your drivers as well, as we've got an exciting week's worth of racing coming up ahead of us. And like I said, it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious here at Indianapolis, and definitely something to look forward to tonight. So let's have a quick look at this fabulous circuit that is Indianapolis, known as the Brickyard, and obviously famously for the Indy 500s, but obviously we are using the GP loop this season. The loop that doesn't get used anymore, it's a loop that hasn't we got a bit of the motorcycle section added to it, and you got the old Grand Prix layout as well, but the length is 2.4 miles long, 3.9 in kilometers. There's 15 corners, 5 to the left and 10 to the right. Pole position is on the right side, with the ACC lap record going away of a 1:34.0. That is held by the Ford Mustang, and the most successful driver around this circuit is myself. And obviously, due to the fact that most of the corners are to the right-hand side, that also affects a lot of the tires. That will basically see most of the drivers will struggle tonight with the inside tires being the right side tires, because they ain't getting very much load. They're going to struggle to get temperature and keep them up to date. as they go along. So we'll see how the drivers get along. Also, due to the conditions tonight, as you can see, like I said, we're early mornings. The session started at 6 in the morning. We are now coming into 7 o'clock in the morning. And track temperature is 10 degrees. Very cold conditions here, and the track is struggling to get up to pace. We're currently sat at a fast pace with a bit of overcast as well. So cars are really struggling to put grip down and get to the optimum session that we are so used to running in. Obviously, a quick reminder as well on your screen is the 24 hours of the Nürburgring event held in the bank holiday weekend in May the 3rd. And this is an event, obviously, kind of led by Paul Williams, and it is us fighting against cancer. 24 hours around the Nordschleife, our fight against the circuit as we take on the dreaded cancer, and us try and fight our way to stopping this horrible disease taking more and more lives. So please support us for that one when it comes to the May bank holiday weekend. And also, if you are a driver as well and you're currently in the stream and currently want to have a little bit more privilege and a bit more help, then have a look at our Patreon. Simply drivers get a £3 per month, and you get to reserve your race number, you get access to sign-ups and events, track suggestions in the future, pre-season promos, and your links will automatically get shared as well. And like I said, we are here at Indianapolis for the next round of the season. And this is what the rest of our calendar looks like. Like I said, Indianapolis for round 3. Round 4, we head down under to Bathurst Mount Panorama for round 4. Round 5 will be Silverstone. Round 6 will be Kyalami. Round 7 will be our first official night race at Imola, while round 8 will be the Nürburgring. Round 9 was our second night race at the Red Bull Ring, followed by Alton Park for round 10. Watkins Glen is round 11, and round 12 is Donington Park. So there you go, guys. That is what the calendar looks like, and that is what we expect to see for the rest of the season. Regarding the championship standings for the GT4s, they look like this. Obviously, you won't be able to see it, but I can see it on my screen. It is Tordock leading away with 108 points to his name. He's only 6 points ahead of Kieran O'Reilly in second. Third is Fraser O'Brien. Fourth is Jamal Clouden. Fifth is Silth. 1/6 is Will Friedman. 7th is Hubert, as I've been getting his name wrong, as I keep saying it in French for some reason. I don't know why. Someone was probably telling me in French, but I didn't mean to do it in French. It's Hubert in P7. P8 is Hunt, with P9 is Duff and McGowan in P10. While Myers in P11, Hibbs P12, Benrock P13. 14th is Unsworth. 15th is Wright, 16th is Old Sim Racer, while in 17th is Ramsell. Stardog 18th, 19th is Johnson, 20th is Fernie, and 21st is Taylor. Cummings in 22nd, with Leach in 23rd, Skunky in 24th, Marsden in 25th, while Aberdeen's in 26th, 27th is Smith, while Millington is in 28th, Vesley is in 29th, 30th is Tipping, 31st is Betterson, Jackal in 32nd, Wheel in 33rd, Carball in 34th, Andrews 35th, Carlos 36th, Goudet in 37th. And that is a rundown of your championship standings for the drivers. The teams, on the other hand, it is MSA Racing leading the way with quite a healthy gap of 81 points ahead of the Greasy Bandits Racing. Unknown Racing sat in 3rd, while Old School Racers in P4, Quadrant Motorsport in that P5, Quantum Motorsport in that P5, while Simplay Racing is in P6. P7 is Piston Bumpers, Piston Pumpers, while Cam Racing is in 8th. P9 is Team Tom, Blunt Force Racing is P10, Piston Pounders are in 11th, Audio Sport in 12th, while 13th is RBGT Team, and in 14th is Old Git Racing, with Cloud9 Racing in that 15th place position. So those are the championship standings, and obviously the way this works tonight is these guys will also have weight added onto their cars. And let's have a look on the tables who is carrying that weight. Will Friedman at the top of the session. He's currently got 15 kilos added to his car, while Clouden has 25. 20 for Silth, 35 for O'Reilly, and your championship leader Tordog has got 40 on board. We've got Herbert, who's carrying 10 kilos, while Hunt is carrying the 5. And those are the drivers that are carrying the ballast here tonight. I've also got a keyboard so I can change cameras, so we should have some great shots here tonight. Let's have a test out. Yep, we can go on board with O'Reilly, and he's right up the back bunker of 114. I believe that is Unsworth. Yes, it is. We're going out. There we go. Camera's working beautifully there, as they should, and we should enjoy all the fun action here tonight as they head up towards turn number 1. Like I said, it's a very tricky circuit to get right, as Tordog there just sending it up the inside and sneaking his way through. So I said the reverse grid is going to be based on the championship standings. So what can the guys do from the back of the pack? Can they work their way forward and try and gain as many points as they possibly can? That is the question. Who are you guys supporting here tonight? Like I see, Gary Clarball, nice to you in the chat. Evening to you, and evening to everybody else who is here this evening. Who we got our money on tonight? As the MSA boys have come up and turned up into Simplay Motorsport and really just grabbing all of our championships by the scruff of the neck. They seem to be really on top form at the minute. Regarding the GT4s, and obviously in the pro category as well. In the Mustangs, they seem very, very strong and competitive, and obviously the Porsche and the Chevy Camaro, they look very good as well. But Herbert and Guda at the minute in the other Chevy seem to be struggling. Clouden did say he was struggling to me just beforehand in the Chevy Camaro, but we'll see how they get on. Obviously conditions are going to change very quickly in a minute as we go into the sprint race. As we get on to the topic of the sprint race, let's talk about the format here tonight. We start things off with a sprint race. 20 minutes is the length of the race, and there will be one mandatory pit stop. They only have to add a litre's worth of fuel. Once they've added that 1 litre, that is pretty much it. It's going to hold them for 25 seconds. If they choose to do so and change tyres, that is an additional 5 seconds added on top. And that is the sprint race with the reverse grid, obviously based on the championship standings. Then we go into a quick break as the drivers get themselves relaxed and cooled off, ready to go for the qualifying session. Qualifying for the GT4s is very different and very unique. We only got a 5-minute qualifying session. All out, flat out for 5 minutes, who can take the prize at the end of the qualifying session. And that will then determine the grid going into the feature race. The feature race, only 45 minutes, not an hour like the GT3s. It is a 45-minute feature race. And then once we go from the feature race, we then head into that 45-minute race. Again, a mandatory pit stop is required. 25-second stop, and 1 litre of fuel is required as well. Again, tyres are optional if they want to, and it's basically lights to flag. Drivers are now getting themselves set up and ready to go in this first sprint race. And I will get a poll going on who you think is going to win this first one. And I will get the reverse grid up as well, so you guys can see who is where. But it's going to be an exciting night's worth of racing. Not sure what on earth that noise was that was in my room, so lovely. A big bang or some sort of noise just went off and scared the complete Jesus out of me. But also, I would like to say a massive congratulations to the main man himself, the league owner, Matthew Duffin. He is going to be starting down the owner, but he has, him and his partner have brought into this world a lovely baby boy named Ayrton Duffin, and a massive congratulations to those two, and hopefully they are doing well. Obviously, Matt is doing well because he's currently in the session ready to go racing. Reminder as well, if you're in the chat and you do want to be a part of the championship here, then head over to the sim grid. We have many events going on when it is the off season as well, so make sure you do that, and then get through the Discord and you can keep up to date with all the chat that's going on. Also, follow our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including Simplay merchandise. Audio Sport, Volkswagen VW Transporter, T4 Audio Solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk, and also their Facebook link is in the bio as well. Right, drivers now heading down towards turn number 1. Let's get the reverse grid up, shall we? So here we are, Indianapolis Road Circuit, Motor Speedway, and this is what the grid is going to look like. It's going to be Archie on the front row with Goudet, with Carlos and Will taking up the second row. Then it's going to be Tipping and Vesely in that 5th and 6th place position. In the 7th and 8th place position is Millington and Smith. They'll be starting from the 7th and 8th place position. While we got Aberdeen starting in 9th and 10th is Marston. That's row 5 for those guys. Row 6 is going to be Skunky and Cummings. They're going to be starting alongside one of our Taylor, and Fernie will start alongside in row number 7. Row 8 is Johnson and Stardog, while row 9 will be well, it's updating for me now because Wheel hasn't made the start, so it's going to be Ramsell and Old Sim Racer starting on that row, with Unsworth and Wright starting alongside each other as well. Then it's going to be Hibbs in 20th position, with 21st will be Duffin, 22nd will be Hunt, while 23rd will be Herbert. 24th will be Friedman, 25th will be Silth, 26th will be Clouden, 27th is O'Reilly, and at the back, 28th position is that of Tordock. But it's going to be Archer starting on pole position here tonight, and it's going to be an exciting night of weather racing. Gary Leach, if he had made the session, would have been at the back of the pack. So there you go, guys. That is the grid order as we get ourselves into the final sector. And as I said, one driver did not make the start. That is going to be Wheel. He will start from pit lane. It is 2 Chevys here on American soil, 2 American cars starting on the front row. Who's going to take tonight's win? That is the question. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at Simplay Motorsport, as we're about to get things underway here for the first time tonight. That camera is not very good, so we'll go back to... Oh, I like having cameras. This is great. So they start 2 by 2 as they come down the main straight. And we are green and go here at Indianapolis for the first race this evening. As you can see, they're all fanning out. Multiple cars can go side by side. It is pretty much 5 or 6 cars in the actual race, as John Goudet is looking to go around the outside of turn number 1. Look at the amount of cars as they head into turn number 1. As we go further back to see how they managed to get through, it's very congested in the middle, but they all managed to work their way through as Duffin's had a good start. And there is Silth, and just there is one of the Ginettas. There goes a Mercedes as well. That is Old Sim Racer, and there's still 4 or 5 cars wide towards the back here, and then more chaos. Oh, and I think that's Hunt nearly rolling over there. He nearly went over on his side, but it's going to be Goudet who leads the way after the first couple of corners here and goes through the first sector. So it is Goudet leading the way, and as I let the tables update, it looks like Carlos is now making a move on Archer. Around the outside he comes, and everyone else working their way through the order as best they can. So it is an updated one. It is Goudet leading the way from Archer, from Carlos, from Millington, from Tipping, from Skunky, from Vesely, as we see Duffin and Fernie going side by side. and Fernie making contact there with Duffin. Ramsell right behind them, and it is Marsden, Smith, Cummings, Wright, Tordock has had a good start. Herbert up into 16, Unsworth, Hibbs, Silth, Clouden, O'Reilly, Friedman, Johnson, Aberdeen, Hunt, Taylor, Old Sim Racer, Stardog and Wheel managing to get going at the front, but it is Goudet leading the way from Carlos as these three start to maneuver their way ahead. We'll head back to this fight at the minute, and Smith under some pressure here from the MSA boys, and both of them managing to work their way through the order. Meanwhile, O'Reilly is on the move. He is on the back of, I believe that is right, and we'll watch the pace of this McLaren. Is very strong in a straight line. Down the straight he goes. Very, very good in a straight line. And he manages to try and outbrake the Alpine, and into turn number one he goes, and I believe, yeah, Wright is still fighting out. He's still giving it a good go, and there's contact just ahead of these guys, so they've all had to check up a little bit, with Unsworth, I think, in the front of all this. But meanwhile, Duffin has now cleared Vesely and Fernie, so he's on the move as... Oh, there goes the Ginetta. Wide. That is Marsden. He's gone wide, and he's going to be in this swamp of pack of cars now. Meanwhile, go back to the front. John Goudet is being hunted down by Carlos. Let's see if he can get anywhere near him. So Carlos trying to humps him down. Archer goes a bit wide as Millington coming up behind him. And Duffin, meanwhile, look, 3 wide here as we go through there. Herbert, Vesely and Tordock, and both of these two MSA drivers working together to work their way through the pack, as O'Reilly is racing Cummings, and he's going around the outside of him and gets the job done on him as well, as Cummings looking to the inside but can't quite get the job done. Meanwhile, further back we've got Friedman, Hibbs, Wright, Clouden, and who's that? That's also Smith. All close together with one another. Clouden pushed out wide. He's not particularly too happy with that one, as they all work their way through this order, and Clouden dropping down the order into the tight chicane. There you go. All very congested here. Hunt's going around the outside of Hibbs. He can't get the job done. Meanwhile, Carlos is on the attack of John Goudet. John goes a little bit deep into turn one there, but nothing he can do at this stage. Meanwhile, Skunky is having a much better start to this race. He's onto the back of Millington now, so he's working to try and make some places up. What else is going on? The MSA boys are working their way through, as now O'Reilly has cleared Vesely, so he's moved up another position. Marsden has dropped down behind Cummings and Silth. So Silth not had the best start either, so he's struggling to work his way up the order. So a lot of work for Silth and Friedman and O'Reilly to do at this minute. But at the stage, it is still Goudet leading the way. He's going a little bit deep there as Carlos gets a little bit quicker. Carlos got the fastest lap to his name. Archer, oh, he hits the curb a little bit and becomes a little bit loose as they head towards the chicanes. And once again, the MSA boys are on the move. They're attacking Ramsell. Ramsell starting to become a lot of pressure from the Chevy and the Porsche. O'Reilly's now cleared Unsworth, so that's another position gain, and Vesely now is going a little bit deep. Pit window has now opened, and this pit lane is very awkward. If I get a driver, I will try and get a clip of them going into it. It is not the easiest pit lane to maneuver. Is any of the drivers wanting to come in? Yes, there is Tipping. He's coming in, and this is the pit lane. You come in, and as you come around the corner, the pit limiter is right about now, and you have to make sure you get down to that pace that is required. But either way, Carlos is putting Goudet under pressure here as they go through turn number one, and still no opportunity for him to get through. Meanwhile, Skunky up the inside of Millington. Job done for him, and another position gain. Duffin trying to work his way through there. Meanwhile, Ramsell has cleared Fernie. That's another position gain. The Silth now sets fastest lap of the race, and he goes into 9th place position. Skunky now free to go and attack the leaders. And once again, Vesely under pressure, dropping down the order. The BMW just seems to be struggling here at this stage as everyone starts to work their way through. Through goes Wright, through goes Hibbs, and now it's Hunt's turn to have a go as a lot of cars are in the pits, tipping Herbert, Friedman, Tordok, a lot of cars in the pit lane at the minute, hoping to use that clean air and try and jump him, but with most of them in there, it is also going to congest them up as well. Loads of cars here in this gaggle of cars at the minute. Hunt having a great run through here. He's onto the back of Hibbs. He looks left. He's oh, and there goes that was Marston, and he goes off miles there. Clips the curb, goes rally crossing, and he's trying to keep it under control, but he just struggling to do so. But it's Herbert who comes out in front with Tordok, O'Reilly, Tipping, Friedman, Clouden, Taylor, Aberdeen and Wheel all pitting on that one as Goudet opts to pit now, and all that's done is just allowed Carlos some free air, and I think he may have made a mistake there allowing him to get that clean air now. So Goudet thinking that now's the time to pit. He's the only one to pit on this lap so far. Anyone close to one another going down the straight. There comes Tipping. Is that Tipping or is it Aberdeen? I think it's Aberdeen. Yeah, Aberdeen coming back out on track. So he's ended up in the middle of all this as a lot more cars are in the pits. We are on board of old Sim Racer, and he's looking up the inside of the Porsche. And it seems to be Smith is the mobile chicane at the minute. You've got 3 cars behind him of Hibbs, Hunt and old Sim Racer. They're all trying to find a way through past the Aston Martin driver. Oh, and Hunt has gone a little bit wide. That's going to compromise his run and be under pressure from old Sim Racer. And he's going very deep, and old Sim Racer up the inside. Job done for him. Meanwhile, Skunky has caught Archer, and that's going to play into his hands. And also, Duffin has caught Millington. So the pace is starting to come to Duffin now. Meanwhile, Carlos with the clean air, pulling away. 6.9 is the gap to Archer. Is Carlos opting to pit now? No, he's not. Meanwhile, Duffin is still trying to attack Millington. Bouncing over the curb goes Millington, and Duffin all struggling for a little bit of grip here. But Carlos still continuing on in front. Goudet has come out, and he's still ahead of, I think, Herbert. Yes, he is. So Goudet still has the net race lead as it stands, but we'll have to wait and see where Carlos comes out in all of this. Meanwhile, Skunky still attacking Archer as they head down towards turn number 1. Duffin also looking to attack Millington. We've got Hibbs comes in, as does Hunt as well. So more cars coming into pit lane. But Skunky now pretty much pushing Archer. As Duffin, oh! Duffin has made contact with Millington. Major damage to Duffin's car. And he's trying to get it back on circuit as best he can. And he has done so, but damage to his car. As we go on board with Skunky, who is right up the rear wing of Archer. And they're just losing time, hand over fist to Carlos, and down the inside goes Skunky as he missed his brakes ever so slightly. He always had a little bit of a bump from Archer. And Archer keeps hold of the position. Skunky there just missing his brakes ever so slightly there, and still having to try and work his way back through the order. How far down did Duffin drop? In the end, he's behind Silth. So hasn't turned out too well, but as Goudet still comfortably out in front, as Herbert and Tordok still working together, but they're being hunted down by O'Reilly, who's really looked quite competitive in that McLaren, especially at Spa. He pretty much won every race. Didn't take fastest lap though, as Carlos now comes in, and so does Skunky as well. So Skunky opting for that free air, and through into the pit he comes. Millington and Ramsell are being harassed by Silth in the background, and up the inside goes Silth. Oh, and they make contact. They're still making contact. Interesting there. Not sure what was going on there. As Duffin's into the pits, as well as is Cummins. Old Sim Racer's coming in. as Rob Smith continues on through. So now Archer leads this race as they've got a car coming out of pit lane as well. And we're past the halfway stage, so I'll end the poll there. Majority reckon that it's either going to go the way of Will or Goudet as I go through these tight, twisty sections. And Silt has gained a position. He's moved up. He's got past Ramsel. And now he's on the hunt to Millington. There is Goudet. He's in the final sector as Carlos has gone green, so we should see how close this gets. But we'll go back to the leaders as Archer heads towards the far end of the middle sector. He's got Millington, Sylph and Ramsel right behind them. Carlos still not out of pit lane as here comes Goudet. Carlos has gone off the limiter and here comes Goudet. It's going to be close, it's going to be tight, but Carlos gets the job done, and that was the mistake I think John Goudet made. He just allowed Carlos the free air. He clearly had more pace, and now he leads this race. Old Sim Racer's come out and not done his stops, so that's going to frustrate him. Oh, the leaders are coming into the first couple of corners. Oh no, what's happened to Millington? Oh no, sorry, they're in the final sector. So Archer continuing on through. He's got one more lap really, and everyone else is coming into the pits. Old Sim Racer will need to pit again, and obviously clearly forgot to put that 1 litre of fuel in the car. So Carlos now leading this race. Herbert ahead of Tordock. O'Reilly has caught them up, with Skunky not too far behind them. Friedman meanwhile going around the outside of Ramy Fernie. And Friedman's missed his brakes, gone deep into the corner. Actually, I think he's had a little help in there from Fernie, and holds the positions, and Fernie drops down as well. And if I think we look on Duffin, obviously the damage done to his car, every time he seems to hit the brake, I think he's got a flicker of lights as Smith is into the pits. Let's have a look, see here if he hits the brakes. Looks okay actually. Possibly a little flicker or something on his lights, so probably not helping him out for overall sight. As we can see here, Herbert now under pressure from Tordock, and O'Reilly shot right off him. Meanwhile, they are going to clear a couple of cars here as they all come off the limiter. Sylph now comes out, and Herbert, Tordock and O'Reilly have jumped a lot of cars there. Sylph has dropped down, so has Ramsel, and they come into the middle of this squabble. Old Sim Racers decided to carry on and deal with the penalty. So Will Friedman, fastest lap of the race to his name now. And into the pits comes Archer. Carlos though leading the way ahead of Goudet. Herbert and Tordock right behind one another. O'Reilly also trying to hunt them down, and the rest of the pack follows on through. Will Friedman just ahead of these three, and yeah, just a little flicker there from Duffin's lights there, so a little bit of front end damage to his car. As Fernie now in the slipstream behind the Alpine of Cummins as they head towards the left-hander, and Fernie there can't quite get far enough alongside to get the job done on Cummins. The pit window is now closed, and Old Sim Racer has got a penalty coming his way because he did not pit within the window. So loads of ice still going on. Johnson up the inside by the looks of things of Smith, but he can't quite get it. Yes, he does. He's going to get it done on the outside, and Smith bounces over the curb, and Johnson makes the position up. Archer coming out of pit lane now, and where is he? He's halfway down, so not worked out for him there. He's going to drop down the order big time as Tordock has now got past Herbert. So as Herbert made a mistake somewhere, O'Reilly's trying to hustle the leaders as well. Skunky head of Sylph, but Sylph's going to try and come back in. Will Friedman pulling away from these guys as Old Sim Racer has passed Duffin. Meanwhile, further back, Fernie's defending from Cummings. Cummings to the outside, and also just behind them is Clouden. Fernie's gone deep. Cummings up the inside, and will Clouden go around the outside? No, he chooses better not to attack, but he is going for it. He's up the inside, and job done. He's got past the Ginetta. And he's onto the grass, and Fernie goes off into the gravel, and that's another position lost to Millington. Luckily, he's got a bit of a gap to Unsworth and Archer, so he's holding on. Meanwhile, Carlos comes into the chicane ahead of Goudet. Goudet's got a nice healthy gap between these guys. Just in the background is Skunky. He's able to defend from Sylph by the looks of things, and Sylph looking to try and come back at the Mercedes-Benz. They're close to one another. Oh, Herbert there just sliding a little bit through the right-hander there. And O'Reilly still just can't quite get close enough. Seems to just be struggling possibly with braking. From what I was told, the McLaren just seems to have no real good braking underneath it. It's very good in a straight line, but not a lot of braking. And Sylph has already done Skunky. So Skunky struggling at this stage here. As Sylph goes past, Friedman's now onto the back of him. And Jamal Clouden now looking to attack Cummings. He's on the rear end. Cummings has gone deep, and that's going to give the position to Clouden. Millington looking to the outside, but he can't find a way through at this stage. He was at Archer's gone wide. Unsworth is now looking to make a move on him, as we got Wright attacking Hibbs, who's attacking Tipping. So fights happening up and down the order. Oh, and there goes Taylor. He goes a bit deep, and through goes Johnson. But O'Reilly now has got Herbert. So Herbert's made another mistake somewhere, or just been out-dragged by the McLaren, and O'Reilly is up into P4. So position gained there for O'Reilly. What else is going on? Old Sim Racer still trying to hustle the back of Ramsel, but can't quite do so at the minute. Duffin pulling away from Jamal Clouden, who's got Alistair Cummins behind him, Stephen Millington as well, Raimi Fernie, Unsworth, and there's a whole gaggle of cars here. Hibbs and Wright onto the back of these artists. We'll go on board with Wright. Oh, and Archer's gone wide. Man, Hibbs tries to net the three-door, and he does manage to get his way through past Archer. A brilliant move there. Around the outside goes Wright on Archer, and Archer falls behind. Oh, and Wright just lay on the brakes there. He gets very close to the Ginetta and the Mercedes, and Hibbs once again another position gained. So Hibbs capitalising on those mistakes there and gaining the positions that are needed. Meanwhile, O'Reilly tries to hunt down Tordok, but I think it's going to be tricky to do so because Carlos is on his final lap. Up towards turn number one, there you go. Goes Carlos Goudet in a solid P2. Or Tordok in P3, holding off O'Reilly at the minute. 1 lap to go. He possibly could still do it. Sylph and Friedman have got past Skunky. Skunky's dropped down another position there. Ramsel in a P9 and all on his own. Well, Old Sim Racer is now under pressure from Duffin. Jamal Clouden still hasn't dropped the Alpine behind him, and it is pretty much back to this fight with Hibbs and Tipping, as all the drivers are pretty spread out at this stage. Guys, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at Simplay Motorsport. And if anything, I think John Goudet has brought the gap down ever so slightly to Carlos, but it's too little too late at this stage, as Carlos is driven quite a sensible race there. He's minded his own business, not got involved in any silly incidents, and just stuck to the back of Goudet. And once he pitted, that was the mistake that Goudet made it. As Duffin is past Old Sim Racer, but he's under pressure here from Jamal Clouden as it goes to the left-hander. Deep goes Duffin, but Clouden's going to be patient, but we have to return back to our race leader. Carlos is pitting. Why is Carlos pitting? He's in pit lane. I'm not sure why. Oh, no, he's not. He's gone wide. He went deep. Oh, Carlos wins the race. Sorry, he looked like he was going pit lane. Carlos wins the race ahead of Goudet. Third will go the way of Tordok. P4 for O'Reilly, P5 for Herbert, P6 for Silth. Friedman is going to finish ahead of Skunky for 7 and 8. Ninth is going to be the way of Ramsell. Meanwhile, Duffin, has he held off Clouden? Yes, he has. Duffin will stay in 10th place position ahead of Jamal Clouden. Old Sim Racers dropped it, so Cummings moves up to 12th. Millington up into 14th. Fernie into 14th. 15th is Unsworth. 16th is Hibbs, followed by Wright, followed by Tipping. And then it is going to be Archer who crosses the line ahead of Old Sim Racer, who has a 130-second time penalty, ahead of Hunt, Stardog, Taylor, Johnson, Smith, Aberdeen, Marston in 27th. 28th is Vesely, and Wheel in 29th position. That was the first race. Chris Danes in the sack. Come on, Matt, and just missed the start of that one, mate, and we'll be back pretty shortly for the feature race. But Carlos wins that one ahead of John Goudet, ahead of Tordok. We'll be back in a few moments' time as the drivers will take a few minutes break, as will I, and we'll be back shortly for the feature race. Guys, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport, and we have just got our end of our practice session underway here. It was only 10 minutes, and I hope you're all back and ready for some more action as we're about to go into the 5-minute qualifying session. Championship standing looks like this. Tulldog leading the way by 10 points ahead of O'Reilly after the sprint race. Silver now sitting in that third place position with Friedman 37 points behind the leader in fourth place. Fifth is Herbert, while Clouden is in P6. O'Brien P7 with Hunt in P8. Duff in P9 with Hibbs in P10. Unsworth in P11, Wright P12, Ramsell P13 with McGowan in 14th, Carlos 15th now with that race win to his name, with Skunky in 16th, Myers in 17th, while Rock is in 18th, Goudet 19th, Fernie in 20th, 21st is coming, Stardog 22nd with Old Sim Racer in 23rd. A lot of drivers exiting pit lane, and I'll try and get one of the early leaders if we possibly can. Cummings in 21st, Stardog 22nd, Old Sim Racer 23rd, Johnson 24th, while Taylor is 25th, while in 26th is Millington. Marston in 27th with Tipping in 28th, Aberdeen in 29th with Smith in 30th, 31st is Gary Leach, while 32nd is Vestley, Betterson 33rd, Jackal 34th, Archer 35th, and Wheel in 36th, Clarball 37th with Andrews in 38th position. Teams Championship looks like this. MSA still lead the way with Greasy Bandits in second, Unknown Racing in P3 with Old School Racers P4, Quantum Motorsport in P5, while P6 is Simplay Racing. Can Racing is P7, while Piston Pumpers are in P8, Team Tom in P9, Blunt Force Racing in P10, with Piston Pounders in 11th, Audio Sport in P12, with our Road Runner Motorsport in 13th, RBGT Team in P14, 15 is Old Git Racing, 16 is Star Wolf Racing, and Cloud9 in 17th place position. And that is the order as they are all starting to come around the far end of the lap. Who is the first car up there? I'm trying to see. I think it's, what is that? That is the 442, I think. 442? Oh, it's not Carlos because he's in pit lane. Is it the 443? So it is Sills who is the first car out on the track, and he is going to be setting the benchmark. Let's try and get a car closer to the back of the pack so we can get a lap time with a driver. We'll go on board with Hibbs. So Hibbs is going to take us a lap around this fantastic circuit here at the Indianapolis circuit, and through out of the final corner we go. Down the main straight, obviously going the wrong way round of the Indy 500 layout as we head down towards turn number 1 as Hibbs trying to get his car to the maximum RPM as he possibly can, braking just as he comes down towards turn number 1, possibly dropping down into second, possibly first gear, and work way through turn 1 into turn 2. Tricky section as it comes at you pretty fast into 3, braking in a corner into 4. The car will want to understeer and then oversteer through the corner. Run wide through the GP loop down towards 5. Pretty much flat through here, then braking again in an awkward corner into 6. A long sweeping left-hander. Takes a while for the car to come round, then straight into another long sweeping right-hander. We're pretty much through the first couple sectors now as we go through 7, heading down towards 8, 9, 10 and 11. Making sure you brake at the second board, braking in a straight line, get the car to slow down to get the front end turned in. Once you get the front end turned into the apex, open it up so you can then go through the chicane, taking as much curb as you dare. But if you take too much curb, the car will bounce and lose traction. You can abuse the inside curb as much as you possibly can, running out wide as you then head towards the banking. You're going to be briefly touching the banking as you head then into the tricky final sector. Chicane coming up, braking at the 300 board, get the car stopped, then get it turned in, grip the front up, then grip the rear to make sure you get a good exit into the awkward penultimate corner. over the curb, try and run it out wide as you dare, and back on the throttle as you swoop through the final corner, heading towards back onto the banking, and on the main straight you go. And if you manage to get a decent lap underneath you, you will get a flying lap time, and Hibbs will cross the line and put it in P6, 6/10 off the ultimate fastest, which is set currently by Jamal Clouden in his Chevy Camaro, but it is looking very congested out there. A lot of guys still yet to put a lap time on the board, like Tordok, who crosses the line and goes fastest with a 43.3. Who's that just behind him? That was Jackal, and he only gets his one lap in, and that's good enough for 13. So lap time did get on the board. The number 8 car, that is Goudet, so he did manage to get out. Is this a lap time that is going to count? That is the question. Into the final sector he goes. This is going to be quick and fast as we head into the final few moments here of qualifying. Time is up. This is it. Who is going to be on pole for the fourth time this season? Fingers crossed, I should be back next week. Hopefully you will be. Gary Clark would like to see you back on track. So Goudet crosses the line, and it is P2 for him. A great lap time from him. Silth goes P2. O'Reilly goes P2. Now Clouden is in P3. Duffin goes P5. And Skunky goes P7. A few more cars coming in the background as we wait for those times to update. And Millington goes up there. Herbert goes into P5. Any massive lap times is what we're waiting for. Hunt's in the pit lane. Hibbs is back on there. Stardog crosses the line. He goes up a position. Matt Wright up there in P3. A great lap time from the little Alpine there. And coming towards the line there, that was Vesely. He goes into 20th position. And out of the final corner comes Hibbs now in the Mercedes-Benz. What can he do? He only does 14th place position. There's Will Friedman as well. What has Friedman managed to do? As I return to the Pearson, Friedman only 7th in the end. So it is Tardok on pole position with O'Reilly alongside, and Matt Wright, the surprise qualifying there in the Alpine. Very good lap time from him. Clouden in P4, Silth in P5, Herbert P6, Friedman P7, Duffin P8, Goudet with P9, Ramsel P10, Stardog in P11, Skunky P12, Cummings 13th, as Fernie will start 14th, Hibbs in 15th, Hunt in that 16th place position. So the guys will now get themselves prepped and ready to go. There is Hunt. Millington will start 17th. Unsworth in 18th. Jackal 19th. Smith 20th. Vesely in 21st. Archer 22nd. Carlos 23rd. Johnson 24th, with Aberdeen in 25th. Tipping 26th. Then we got Marston in 27th. Old Sim Racer in 28th. Taylor in 29th. And Wheel bringing up the rear. As I will now get a poll going on who you think is going to take the first, who's going to take the second win of the night for the feature race. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. 45-minute race. This is going to be fast. This is going to be intense. Who is going to be the one to beat? That is the question. Tordok is looking good on the front row, but can he hold on there for the rest of the race? So we've got 10 seconds till we go on our way to the formation lap. I do like this 5-minute qualifying session. Really mixes up the grid. There is your poll for the feature race winner. So get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. But it is, you can see them already trying to get tyre temperatures into their cars. These cars don't have any tyre blankets either, so they're stone cold as they move away from the grid. Reminder as well, guys, if you do want to be a part of the action here at Simplay Motorsport, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up to the channel. If you do want to, and once you've done that, you'll be invited into the Discord. Once you've been invited to the Discord, You also then get the chance to then subscribe to all the things that you want to enter in the championship. Obviously, while you're there as well, there's the Patreon as well. So have a look at our Patreon as well. You sign up for £3 a month. You'll reserve your race number and priority sign-ups and events, so you will be the first ones on there. Track suggestions towards future seasons and pre-season promo images and auto sharing of social media links. So all those wonderful things are available to you if you want to be a Patreon. Oh, lovely. Absolutely lovely. Oh, stupid bloody... Yeah, I don't care. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, the my game decided to freeze. My Streamlabs decided to poo itself. But we are live, we are green, and we are ready to go. Matt Wright didn't make the start, so he starts from pit lane, nor did a Mercedes or a Chevy by the looks of things, but we are green and go here. And it is, Vesely and Stardog both didn't make the start, but it is O'Reilly who's already got the jump on Tordok as they head towards turn number 1, but there is the Chevy Camaros as well as they're all breaking into turn 1, but O'Reilly has the inside. Tordok's going to stay strong on the outside, and there's contact behind, and Tordok gets the job done, and Clouden has cleared the few cars there as the rest of them come fanning out of the pits. A lot of cars off and a lot of cars damaged by the looks of things as they try and get themselves going once again. Anyone else caught up in all that? Doesn't look like it. Just a few cars involved in that one. But Tordok did lose the jump of the start, but he is still ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Clouden, and ahead of Sil. So O'Reilly's going to be pressuring the back of that Porsche as much as he possibly can as they're trying to get temperature there. You can see O'Reilly trying to get the temperature inside his car. Into the braking zone. Oh, is that Friedman? He's missed his brakes. He's gone deep, and they all start to work their way past him. But Tordok, can he start pulling away from the guys behind? That is the question. As Clouden's had a decent start. And this is the chasing pack behind Tordok. O'Reilly right there with him, wanting to put some pressure on the leader. And in the background, Silt has got past Herbert there, so Herbert losing another position there. He's got Duffin just behind him, and just behind Duffin is O'Reilly, who's looking to have a good exit and a good run down the main straight. Duffin going a little bit wide there. But down the main straight, there you go. And Herbert's coming back on the attack of Silth in front, and Will Friedman's going up the inside as well. Herbert gets through Silth. Friedman gets past Duffin as they work their way through the first couple of corners. Clouden a little bit loose there and losing grip to, losing touch to Tordok and O'Reilly. As those two start to pull away, what happening elsewhere in the pack? John Goudet sticking with them as is Skunky. Hibbs has gone off big time. Has he come together with Cummings? Looks like he has, because they've dropped down the order. Hunter's worked his way through the order as well, as Carlos working his way up the track, as Unsworth has ended up down the order. He's fighting with Aberdeen and a few others. A lot of cars out at different positions here, and they're all just trying to get themselves back into some form of order. But it's still Tordok leading the way ahead of O'Reilly, and Cloudon's under pressure from Herbert now. So the two Chevy Camaros going at it on American soil, the two American cars side by side, and they're going to go at it together. Side by side they go, Silth right behind them and has nowhere to go. He looks to the inside, but there Cloudon closes the door. Silth can't find a way through. Friedman's there as well. They're about to go 3 wide as they head towards the chicane, and around the outside goes Herbert. Has he gone too deep? Yes, he has. He takes the bollard out, and back through goes Silth. Friedman, and will Duffin gain on this one? No, he's not quite close enough, but Friedman gets the position. And now Duffin goes wide. He manages to avoid the wall, and just behind them as well is John Goudet, who's sticking with them, as is Ramsel and Skunky. So from 3rd all the way down to 10th, it's quite close between those guys, as Herbert once again on the attack of Friedman. And he's going to go up the inside of the Porsche, bounces over the curb. The Chevy can take the curbs a little bit better than the rest, but Friedman stays ahead of the Chevy Camaro. Duffin under a little bit of pressure now from Goudet, as O'Reilly still sticking to the back of Tordok. No real threat at this stage as the kind of pack starts to sort itself out. And Skunky makes contact with Ramsel. Ramsel makes contact with him, and Skunky tries to stay out of the way, wait for him to come through, and they all start working their way through, and Skunky has got going. Ramsel flashing the lights. I don't know if that's appreciation or annoyance, I do not know, but he has allowed him back in front. And that's, of course, all sorts of drama there. Meanwhile, Duffin has got ahead of Herbert, so Herbert's lost more time here somehow, and has dropped behind Duffin. Looks like O'Reilly just losing touch to Tordok here. Tordok starting to get in a little bit of a groove at this stage. So the top two pulling away, as Jamal Cloudon seems to be the cork in the bottle at this stage. He's ahead of Silver, ahead of Friedman. Duffin now holding up the two Chevy Camaros just behind him. He's got Herbert and Goudet, who's not quite close enough at this stage. Meanwhile, we've got the Jackal attacking, being attacked by Carlos. So Carlos has gained the position there, and the Jackal dropping down. Now it's Hunt's turn to have a go at the McLaren, but look how quick that McLaren is in a straight line. As I wanted the right camera, it's not giving it to me. And look, Jackal's right on the back of Carlos. Carlos can't find a way through at this stage. Oh, as we see there, I think Hunt got tabbed by Smith there. Smith sending it up the inside. But Smith gaining the position. Old Sim Racer now falling behind as Hunt drops behind the pair of them. O'Reilly, though, setting the fastest lap of the race, but still on the back of Tordok. Cloudon ahead of Silth, ahead of Friedman, and Duffin's been passed by Herbert. And now could Goudet do anything about Duffin? Oh, and Herbert makes another mistake there. He seems a little bit sloppy in this feature race, not sure why, but he's just a little bit all over the shop. Track has now gone to optimum, so there is more grip coming from the cars. More pace coming from him, as we see there. Smith, where's Jackal? He's got past Smith and Old Sim Racer. Sorry, Hunt was behind them. So Smith there, looking like he's had a mistake there. And now we've got Hunt behind him with Unsworth and pretty much the entire rest of the field behind them. Hunt go up the inside of Unsworth. He gets that job done. Ramsel and Skunky trying to work their way back up the order. And through the S's they go. Oh, you see there, Ramsel pretty much pushing the other Aston Martin. Right behind them, and you see the two Astons. They're going to split the Porsche. They're going to go down into turn number one. And Ramsell tries to outbrake both of them, but Unsworth is the one that gets the job done, and around the outside he goes. Beautifully done there from Unsworth. And he gains one position, Ramsell gains another. Meanwhile, up the inside goes Aberdeen. Aberdeen's under pressure from Taylor, so Taylor's going to go up the inside of Aberdeen, and Johnson's just on the back of him as well. Aberdeen goes wide, and Johnson goes up the inside. Nervous driving from the guys in front. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden still holding on to that third place position, where he's still got Silt and Friedman both setting quite quick laps, as Friedman now goes fastest lap of the session. Herbert pulling away from Duffin now. Duffin's under pressure from Goudet. So the Camaro seems to be working at this stage, while Tordock still just tries to keep O'Reilly at bay. O'Reilly just doing that classic O'Reilly thing of just sitting there and being a little bit of a nuisance, just waiting for the opportunity to come. Meanwhile, once again, Smith under pressure. Unsworth looking to make the move on him, as Ramsell's right behind him. 3 Aston Martins going at it at this stage. Wheel-to-wheel action. Bouncing over the curbs. Hunt is there. Skunky is there as well. All those guys ready for an opportunity to make a move and make an opportunity pass another car. Once again, the Aston's just fanning out a little bit. Skunky's made a position now. He's got up the inside of Hunt. Job done for him. Now Johnson, I think, is making a position. Looks like a car. Smith had made a mistake. He became loose and lost out to Unsworth. Ramsell, now Skunky, and now Hunt, as they all go up through past him. Here comes also Taylor. Taylor's jumped onto the back of this squabble, and he wants a part of the action. He's now got past Smith. And Smith up the inside and understeers into Taylor. And Smith dropping down. Tordock still, though, 8 tenths separating those two, as Jamal Clouden is actually starting to catch him, as he's got Silt, and Friedman hunting him down, and they're hunting down the leaders. It looks like Clouden and Zilton and Friedman are trying their absolute hardest here. They're racing each other, but at the same time, they are bringing the gap down to the top two, bit by bit. Ramsell now pulling away from Skunky and Hunt, as this mid-pack has now spread itself out a little bit. Yeah, it's all just spread out a little bit. Wheel there just behind Hibbs, Stardog and Wright all going into the chicane. And they're trying to give each other space and room here. Hunt, Wright looking to make a move on Stardog. Hibbs is with him as well. So the guys who you'd expect to be at the top end of the grid, they're not there at the minute. They're just struggling by the looks of things. And Wright looks like he had a great run through there. He's onto the back of Stardog. They're trying to outbrake him and go around the outside. No room there, but you have the inside for the next part of the corner. And he's not quite got the confidence on the brakes. And Stardog gives him the racing room. Fair racing here. And Hibbs, out of all of them, might benefit. Yes, he will, as Wright goes understeering wide. And Hibbs up the inside. Oh, and Wright keeps it together just about. Meanwhile, Clouden has now dropped Silth and Friedman, because Friedman has got past Silth. And are they busy having their own little fight at this minute? And just lost to terms with Clouden? That is the question, because O'Reilly still, once again, just 8 or 7 or maybe 9 tenths separating the top two. It's just sitting at that gap in a minute. Tordock just doing everything he can at this stage. Duffin has pulled away from Goudet, as we now got Carlos just behind him as well. Let's go, Hibbs. Keep pushing. You got this, Greasy. A massive Greasy supporter in the chat. Nice to see that. And Skunky now trying to work his way onto the back of the 2 Aston Martins. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has brought the gap down to half a second to Tordock, and the straight line of that McLaren helping him out massively as they head into the chicane. But Tordok, at the minute, doing everything right. He's keeping the cars behind. Jamal Clouden still has a healthy lead over Friedman, but not a massive amount. Duffin has pulled away from Goudet. Like I said, he's got Carlos hunting him down instead. And up the inside goes Carlos. Possibly another door opening here. Goudet gives him the space. They're still side by side. Carlos going to try and go around the outside. They rub doors. Carlos is going to try and hold it strong to go all the way around the outside, but he can't quite do so and has to fall into place. So, John Goudet still ahead of Carlos as these two are having a great little scrap right now. We go back to your leaders, 4:10 still separating these two. It is O'Reilly and Tordok. And they're still ahead of Clouden and Friedman. That gap's come down again. Matt just not able to stick with Herbert at the minute, and Herbert pulling away. Carlos has now got past Goudet. So Goudet, they're losing out. And he's flashing the lights, so obviously he's not happy with him for some reason. And Skunky now looking up the inside. Both of them has got past Unsworth. So Skunky looking up the inside of Ramsell. And Ramsell can't quite get ahead. Ramsell stays ahead, sorry. Unsworth's back up the inside of Skunky. And Skunky there just losing out to the Mercedes, to the Aston Martin. And here comes Unsworth. He's in the slipstream. He's in the tow. Is enough to get past the Mercedes-Benz. Meanwhile, behind them, Taylor is passing Hunt. And Hunt is going to lose a position. Yes, he is. As Taylor goes up the inside. The job done for him. O'Reilly still just on the back wing of that Porsche of Tordok. And right now, Tordok... just doing everything he possibly can to stay in front of the McLaren driver. And Clouden also still got pressure from Will Friedman behind him. We're still just dropping off the back of these guys now. Jackal has caught Millington, so Millington's either made a mistake or dropped a lot of time here, and the Jackal is on the back of him. Old Sim Racer having a better race at this time round as well. Ramsell has been passed by Skunky now, and Skunky back up a position. Hunt is under pressure once again from Johnson now and Aberdeen, so the back end of the grid seems to be a lot of fights going on here. But again, not really much changing in positions wise. Meanwhile, Friedman now attacking Jamal Clouden. Looking left, looking right, he can't quite find a way through. And Clouden just having to hang in there. Meanwhile, still Tordok bends off O'Reilly. And through the S's they go. Jamal Clouden ahead of Friedman. And Friedman there looking to make an opportunity while he can, but he can't seem to find a way through at this stage. Silth is just waiting patiently for his opportunity to attack. As we go through the S's once again, Friedman right up the back bumper of Jamal Clouden. Friedman waiting for that prime opportunity to try and catch the Chevy Camaro out when he can. As Clouden goes a little bit deep there. Jamal Clouden doing everything he possibly can to keep the Porsche behind. Pit window is going to open up very, very shortly. And once again, O'Reilly is just in touch with Tordok, but can't really do anything to him at this stage. pit window has now opened as we go on board with Will Friedman, who is trying to get past Jamal Clouden. There's a possible opportunity, and Clouden just blocks it off, but it's allowed him to go a little bit deep, and Friedman once again has to just check up. Friedman giving a flash of the lights, possibly moving under braking maybe, and Silth is just behind the pair of them, both of them understeer, and Silth has a much better run through there, and Clouden having to do his absolute best to defend from these two. A lot of cars coming into the pit. Old Sim Racer, Skunky, Taylor, Hunt, Aberdeen and Marsden all into the pits. Meanwhile, Tordock, you can see there the gap has extended between himself and O'Reilly. But it's this fight between these three. Oh, Silth there very late on the brakes as Friedman gets very, very close to him. And you can see there Jamal Clouden doing everything he possibly can to keep these two behind him. Is there going to be an opportunity for Friedman? No, there's not. Silth right behind him as well. They're just waiting for one mistake to happen. And they're still going at it. Jamal Clouden might be under a little bit of pressure here. He does get a better run through the final corner though. He's giving them both a toe, but the Chevy just has enough grunt to keep him behind. So Friedman's going to have to try and do something quite ingenious here. Oh, he's going to go to the outside this time. Try and possibly make Clouden go deep. Not this time round. A great racing from these three at the minute as O'Reilly has caught Tordock once again. Meanwhile, Duffin has been caught by Carlos. So Carlos is right behind him as Jackal now pits. Unsworth is on the back of Ramsel as they now head towards turn number 1. But Carlos here now also looking to attack Duffin. Duffin under pressure. Silth and Friedman are still attacking. Meanwhile, as Archer has stayed on track as Stardog opted to go into the pits, as does Wright, and a lot of cars in the pits. Skunky, the leading car of the pitters, and they're all going to sink in with the leaders as well. So it's all quite tight towards the front. And once again, O'Reilly just will not let Tordock go. A little bit of understeer, I think, there from O'Reilly and losing some time. But still, Jamal Clouden's got this pressure of Friedman and Silth breathing down his neck. Into the final corner they go, still following on one another. Will Friedman possibly has a run, has an opportunity here. He's had a great run through the final corner. He's right up the back bumper of Jamal Clouden. He couldn't be any further behind him, but look, he's in the toe, he's in the slipstream, but that Chevy just a lot better in a straight line. But Clouden is going to brake earlier. Friedman's going to go around the outside. And job done there. Beautiful move there from Will Friedman. Position gained. Clouden drops back, but he's going to come back on the attack. He's going to go back up the inside. Friedman is going to give him the racing room, but Clouden struggling with grip as Friedman bounces over the grass, over the curb. He manages to get to the corner, and Jamal Clouden loses the position there. Well done to Friedman. That was a brilliant move. And Jamal Clouden's going back up the inside. Friedman just gives him enough room. That's a little bit desperation there from Clouden. He's still trying to fight it off as they go side by side, heading towards the left-hander now. Is Clouden better on the brakes? No, he's not. He's going to try and undercut Friedman, but Friedman, you've got to wake up earlier in the morning to do that to him. He is a little bit more awake on that one as Duffin has come into the pits and been jumped by Goudet, and Friedman there now finally clears Jamal Clouden. But can Clouden come back? That is the question. Clouden knows he's got a better straight line by the list of things. Is Will Friedman now going to choose to box? No, he's not. Not long to go, 20 minutes still left of this race. The 55, that is Duffin. Stop and go. Speeding in the pit lane, he's got the marks wrong. And a massive mistake there for Matthew Duffin. But meanwhile, is flashing the lights at Jackal, say, look, get out of the way, mate, you're a blue flag. So Jackal should eventually jump out of the way as they go into turn number 1. Oh, they nearly made contact and made him a lot harder than he needed to be. So after all the stops, Goudet comes back out. Where was Skunky? There he is. So Goudet still the leading car in the pits, as Millington is now in the pits. Duffin now possibly kicking himself. He's got Fernie right behind him. But there are your leaders, and once again O'Reilly's got quite close to the back of them. O'Reilly trying to stick with these guys as Friedman in third, pulling away from Clouden and Silth for fourth and fifth. Now Silth wants a part of the action. He wants to get past the Camaro. And through the S's they go. O'Reilly 2/10. It is that close. Does O'Reilly think to pit and use the clean air? They're both coming in together. They're both reacting together, so that's possibly going to put Friedman in the lead of this race. Yes, it will. So the two leaders pit, and Silth now comes in as well. So O'Reilly and Tordok opt into pit at that stage. And Friedman now leads this race. He ain't going to do much unless he has a fantastic stop. But Millington now coming out of the pits. Goudet's already long gone into turn number 1. Turn 4 it is. As Millington now gets a drive through as well. So pit lane has been catching them all out. And once again, Jamal Clouden just has no answer to Friedman as he pulls away. Carlos was also decided to stay out, as has Ramsell and Cummings. No, Cummings is coming into the pits, right, staying out, and Archer still yet to come in as well, as they've only got a couple more laps left to go to get that stop done. It's been great racing from these guys all night long. It's been awesome to see. As now pit stops are taking to effect, as we got Unsworth onto the back of Millington. What other fights we got here? Taylor's on the back of Old Sim Racer as well. Rob Smith did have Hunt behind him, but Hunter's dropped a little bit further back. And through the S's they go. So Tordok has come out and O'Reilly's jumped him. So Tordok has been jumped by O'Reilly. So O'Reilly now leads this race. Silth now comes back out there. Where's Herbert? There he is. And they just feed their way into the traffic. Archer choosing to carry on through. Friedman and Clouden both come in. So does Carlos. Will Ramsell choose this time round to pit as well. But O'Reilly jumping ahead of Tordok. This is going to be the fight of the season, I think, between these two. It's been fantastic to watch how close O'Reilly could get to him. Now he's got some clean air. Will this help him out? Duffin, meanwhile, will have to pit very soon and to serve his stop and go penalty. Leaders are all, including Ramsell. Archer will have to pit this lap if he makes it in time. As they head themselves through the S's. But O'Reilly got the jump on Tordok. Tordok's got a lot of work to do now. And Herbert still in kind of no man's land at the minute. Drive through clear for the 59. That was Millington. As they go through the final sector now, Duffin pressurising the back of Goudet, but all that work will probably be for nothing. As where is Archer? Archer's now coming to pit lane. And the pit window is closed before he got there, so it will not count. As Duffin now finally pits, O'Reilly clears the leaders. And Clouden and Friedman are side by side once again as they come through the pit lane. And up the inside goes Clouden. Friedman's going to keep it pinned though. And Friedman stays in front. As Jamal Clouden's going to try and come back at him straight away. And Friedman holds on to position, but he goes a bit wide. He's going to get onto the dirt. He's going to get onto the curb, but he just manages to hang in there. So that was very close. He nearly got the jump there, did Clouden. And Tordock now brought the gap back down to O'Reilly once again. Seems to get into a groove, and there he is. Silth, meanwhile, has jumped the pair of them. So with that clean air, Silth has ended up ahead of Friedman and Clouden. Nicely done there by Silth. He's jumped those two. Herbert's now coasting onto the back of them. Goudet kind of in no man's land. He's ahead of Carlos. Skunky worked his way back up to 9th. Ramsel now in 10th place position. Unsworth is now in 11th. Les Fernie in the chat saying, wow, what a superb race. It's been brilliant so far. Old Sim Racer in 13th. 14th is Cummings. 15th is Aberdeen. 16th is Taylor. Johnson in 17th. Wright in 18th. Archer now coming out of the pits in 19th place position. Smith goes back up a position. So does Hunt. Duffin drops down. Stardog goes up as well, tipping pretty much Duffin and Archer are behind Millington, so they've dropped down to 27th and 28th position. But O'Reilly, he was playing chase earlier, now he's being attacked by Tordock. So Tordock trying to bring that gap back down once again. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden's made another mistake. He's side by side with Herbert. Herbert gives him a shove. And Jamal Clouden losing another position there. So Jamal Clouden just seems to be struggling in his Camaro. Was up in third. He's now dropped down to 6th place. Jackal, meanwhile, still being hunted down by Old Sim Racer. Oh, just ahead of him is the Audi of Wheel, who's all over the shot. Old Sim Racer tries to capitalise, but can't do so because the car is right in the way, and Cummings has brought the gap down to them now. As Tordock has got back past ahead of O'Reilly. So another position gained back there for Tordock. Possibly some fresh tyres on that car. As they're now coming up to lap Duffin. I think Tordock has changed tyres. And he's made up that 5-second deficit. And O'Reilly is not really going to give this up. He's still going to give it a good go. As they're pushing as hard as they possibly can. But O'Reilly there, just struggling at this stage of the race now as Tordock tries to pull away. Jamal Clouden dropping further back to Herbert there. And Carlos is caught Goudet now. More fights happening up and down the grid. Hunt has cleared Smith, and Stardog is now onto the back of him. Hibbs slowly been working his way up the order. Can Friedman catch down still towards the end of this race? That is the question. And there is Carlos. He's on the back bumper of Goudet. Carlos looking left, looking right, looking for an opportunity to get past him, but he can't find a way through at this stage. Goudet doing everything he can to keep that Porsche behind, but the Porsches have suddenly come alive again. Carlos very quick at the minute. Meanwhile, Tordok is pulling away from O'Reilly. Carlos has a sniffing opportunity. Is he going up the inside? No, not quite. As Goudet goes deep, and that's enough to go through. Carlos makes the position. Tordok now lapping Duffin, and O'Reilly just comes at the wrong time, at the wrong place. Through the inside it goes O'Reilly. And Tordok pulling away. Silth, meanwhile, is being hunted down by Friedman. Herbert still got Clouden behind him. And Carlos now pulling away from Goudet. As Jackal now has been passed by Old Sim Racer. And Cummins is right behind him. Once again, that McLaren straight line will help him out quite a bit now. Down the back straight, there you go. Jackal looking to attack the Mercedes-Benz, possibly. No, he stays in position. And through the chicane they go. And Cummins now right on the back wing of the McLaren. And Cummings looking for a possible way through. The Alpine driver looking to the outside. Oh, he gets onto the marbles and off he goes. Cummings makes a mistake, and Aberdeen is going to capitalise on that, as will Johnson. I think Johnson's right there. Has he got an opportunity up the inside? No, not quite. So Johnson not able to capitalise either. Right nowhere near this fight at this stage. Meanwhile, Tordok pulling away from O'Reilly. Well, I say pulling away, it's stayed relatively the same, as O'Reilly is in P2 and only a second gap. Meanwhile, Friedman has caught Silth, and up the inside, no, not quite far enough. Hadn't quite got the confidence there. And through the S's they go. And Will Friedman, is he finally going to find that opportunity up the inside of Silth? He's taking his time, he's waiting for the right opportunity. He's still got 10 minutes left of this race. As we are coming to the very end of this race now. Or as we see there, once again, Friedman and Silth just getting close to one another. We'll come back to that fight as Unsworth is got ahead of Old Sim Racer here, or as Unsworth lost time because he is now under pressure from the cars around him. And the Mercedes of Old Sim Racer has looked good in this one. He's worked his way back forward. He's got rid of the bad luck from previous races and had a good Indianapolis. As Johnson trying to work his way onto the back of him as well. No real fights other than that, as Silth and Friedman. Friedman's cleared Silth just as I come away and think that nothing's going to happen. Friedman has cleared Silth, and Friedman up another position. So Porsche 1 and 3 at this stage. And Silth just losing out there. Herbert and Clouden still close to one another. But Friedman gets the job done, and Tordok has clearly got the gap down to O'Reilly and has pulled away nicely. Unsworth now look at this train of cars as he goes deep. That's going to invite Old Sim Racer and the Jackal for an opportunity. As we finally see the daylight here in Indianapolis. But Old Sim Racer coming back at Unsworth. He's in the slipstream, he's in the tow. Is he going to send it up the inside of turn number 1? Unsworth makes his one move. And Old Sim Racer's going for it. He's released the brake ever so slightly, and that's given him the position. Meanwhile, Cummings has gone up the inside of Aberdeen, but Aberdeen keeps it pinned and stays in position. Aberdeen holds on to that place as Old Sim Racer gets ahead of Unsworth and gets into 11th place position. Silth, meanwhile, has not given up on Friedman. Is going to stick to the back of him as best he can. Johnson not too far behind these lot. And he coming together with these lot, and he should be able to capitalise on that. That's old sim racer. Oh, and there goes Jackal and Cummings. They've made contact. And Cummings and Jackal are going to get going. Jackal does get going. And Cummings is waiting for him. Is Aberdeen in this as well? No, Aberdeen's got going as well. As Unsworth looks back up the inside of old sim racer, they go a little bit deep into the right-hander. But Silth now really trying his best to hang in there and get past old sim racer. As Unsworth giving him a flash of the lights to old sim racer. Is he going to try and send it up into turn number 1? They're close, and he thinks about it, but he's not quite close enough to Mercedes. Meanwhile, Herbert and Clouden are going at it. Herbert goes deep. Clouden looks to try and get the undercut, try and get back underneath. You can see the two Chevy Camaros not really been attacked by anyone or challenging anyone at this stage. So they're kind of in their own little scrap at the minute. As the two Chevy Camaros duke out for who's top dog. But the man in front, Tordok, has just been in control of this race. He did lose the lead momentarily, but I believe that was due to a tyre change. But he had the confidence, he had the pace, and through he came. In the slipstream goes Jamal Clouden. He's going to look up the inside of turn number 1, but he's not quite close enough, and Herbert just breaks that a little bit later. Old Sim Racing now pulled away from Unsworth. He's actually under pressure from Aberdeen. And also Taylor's now attacking Jackal. So Jackal under pressure here. Jamal Clouden, though, still going at it tooth and nail with Herbert. Or is he going to look up the inside? Herbert just gives him the space. He understeers wide. Jamal Clouden is going to be there up his inside. And once again, they're going tooth and nail. Down towards the left-hander they go. Which Chevy is going to reign supreme? Herbert and Clouden still going at it. And Clouden gets pushed wide. And Herbert just hanging in there for the meantime. What else is going on? Jackal and Taylor still going at it. Who else? We got Hibbs on the back of tipping. Where's Duffin in all this? He's gone off. He's made a mistake. He was catching Smith. Every point counts here. And once again, this is your closest fight at the minute. Herbert versus Clouden. Is he going to send it up the inside of turn number 1? Once again, he's going for it. A last minute dart out. Up the inside. Herbert gives him the space, but both of them go deep. Herbert holds on to the position though. Both drivers going at it, and this is just for 6th and 5th. Some great racing between these two. Clouden back up the inside. He's going to be on the outside though for the next corner. Is he going to look up the inside? He's trying to find a way through. He's trying to sneak his way through. But he can't get the job done. He can't get the traction. as they're now coming up to lap. Matthew Duffin, Clouden all over the shot now, left and right, trying to find any opportunity. And Herbert not phased by it whatsoever. Oh no, he goes a little bit deep into the S's. Possibly Clouden just trying to distract him, make him look in his mirrors a bit much. But Jamal Clouden right underneath, trying to find the room. And up the inside, there's the opportunity. Is it job done? No, because Herbert's going to keep his foot pinned. He stays on the inside. Clouden's going to have to give him racing room. He's going to be on the inside for the final corner. And around the outside, Herbert loses out. But Jamal Clouden gets back ahead. Is Herbert going to come back at him? Herbert goes back to the outside. Jamal Clouden's going to hold the inside. Herbert's going to try and brake later. He does. He gets the job back done on Clouden. Some great racing there from these two Chevy Camaros. But it's Herbert back ahead once again. Meanwhile, back at the front, Tordock still ahead of O'Reilly by quite a healthy gap. Friedman has actually been catching O'Reilly down, so that's 2.8, still just dropped off the back of him. And you still got this fight between Herbert and Clouden. The titanic battle between two Camaros. Clouden going to go around the outside of Tordock. Herbert. And Herbert holds on to the position once again. Clouden, poor exit, poor run. And through the S's they go, and I think Jamal Clouden's going to have to recover what he lost and try and build that gap back up. So for now, Herbert holds on to that position. Meanwhile, where is Tordock? He starts his final lap here at Indianapolis. It's been an MSA dominance so far. Carlos winning the sprint, and now it looks like Tordock is going to win the third race as well. As they go through the first couple of chicanes, Friedman trying to hunt down O'Reilly towards the end, but I don't think he's going to get him. Clouden back onto to Herbert again. And Herbert holding on just to the very end here of this race. Oh, he goes on two wheels through there. As once again Clouden trying his absolute best to try and work his way past Herbert, but Herbert's doing everything that he needs to do right now to hold on to that fifth place position. It's been a great little scrap between the two Chevys. Meanwhile, we look back to this man leading the championship, looking strong in his Porsche. It's going to be another win to his name. Tordock goes into the final few corners here. Into the final corner now. Tordock is going to win round 6 of the season. He wins here at Indianapolis. He wins the feature race. Congratulations to Tordock. He wins that one. O'Reilly's going to finish in second ahead of Friedman. Stills is going to finish in that 5th place position. And here comes Herbert. Here comes Jamal Clouden. They put up a fantastic fight, a titanic fight between the Camaros. But it's going to be Herbert ahead of Clouden. Carlos is going to come home for a 7th, a first and a 7th for him. A good night in the office for him. John Goulet coming out of the final corner. A solid drive in the Chevy Camaro. He's going to finish in 8th place. Good job to him. Skunky, after being involved in some of the incidents earlier on, he's going to finish in that 9th place position. Down the straight comes Ramsell, he finishes in the 10th place, finishing in the top 10. Meanwhile, Old Sim Racer and Unsworth and Aberdeen are still going at it. But I think Unsworth is just going to hang in there. Yes, he is, ahead of Old Sim Racer, ahead of Aberdeen. Johnson just finishes ahead of Wright. Taylor is going to finish in 16th, ahead of Stardog. And then ahead of the Jackal, Hunting and 19th place position. Tipping is still ahead of Hibbs right now. But there's Taylor across the line, ahead of Stardog. Here comes Jackal, followed by Hunt. And then Tipping just ahead of Hibbs. Great racing from those guys at the end there. And it is the way of Tardog, who takes the win from O'Reilly, from Friedman, Silth, Herbert, Clouden, Carlos, Goudet, Skunky and Ramsell rounds off your top 10. And a brilliant drive from all those guys. Whew. Awesome stuff from the championship contenders there. It has been a phenomenal night's worth of racing here, and I believe the tables are being updated as we speak. So while they are being updated, we'll have a quick look at what's next for us on the season. And up next in the championship, we go to round 4. It is at Bathurst Mount Panorama. It's round 4 of the championship, with Silverstone followed up behind it, with Kyle Army round 6, round 7, Imola round 8, Nürburgring round 9, Red Bull Ring round 10 will be Walton Park, round 11 is Watkins Glen, and round 12 will be Donington Park. So make sure you tune into all of the action this season. It is still going to be intense, it's still going to be great. But that is it for the Indianapolis saga, as I believe Matt is still updating the tables as he goes. But I'll tell you what, the drivers will get an updated version of the championship standings. I don't know if any of the drivers are wanting to come in for a chat in the commentary box. I'll see if anyone's in the comms box. Not at the minute. But yeah, it has been great action here at Indianapolis. Next time out, we were head down to the Gold Coast. We'll head down to, well, not the Gold Coast, we'll head to Australia, down under for the next round of the season. Bathurst Mount Panorama. I know Benny's very excited about that one and his home track. But I've been Dan Davis. This has been Simplay Motorsport, and we'll catch you next time out tomorrow night, as the Pro-Ams will be hitting the track, and also Thursday will be the pros. But from myself and everyone here at Simplay Motorsport, good night.